We got a guest in studio, Mr. Johnson.
Yes, we do. From the CFL.
This is Commissioner, and it is Randy Ambrosie. And you've got a bit of a background, obviously, in football. You want to give us a rundown on your career before you started doing this gig?
Well, I was spent 9 years in the CFL, 5 of them here in Edmonton. Won a Grey Cup here in '93. One of the things we talked about just before we went on air is the '89 season, where this guy from Saskatchewan was 1 year old, and which makes him younger than I am. That makes me mad all on its own. And then and it just reminded me that year we went 16-2, and the Riders were 9-9, and they won the cup that year, beat us in the Western Final. So thanks for that. But you know, that was my last season, '93, and I'd been in the investment business. Went on to I did some cool things. I ran a big part of Merrill Lynch's private client business in Canada. I ran the North American brokerage business for HSBC. Was the president of AJF Funds, and then I was the CEO and president of a firm out of Montreal called 3Max, McDougall and McTeer, and we sold that to Raymond James. And I was at that point not sure what I would do, maybe just have fun for a while. And my wife started telling me that she really thought my being around that much was going to be a little much for her. So, again, that's how feelings get hurt, those kinds of comments. But, here...
Honey, I'm going to need you to go back to work.
Yeah.
You're driving me insane.
Your wife would say the exact
Well, you know
same
what?
thing.
I came down one day after about a few months of being on the job or being off the job and just hanging out, and I came down and said, "Sweetheart, what are we doing today?" And she said, "Seriously? I know what I'm doing. I have no clue what you're doing." And I knew in that moment that we were in a different place. So,
yeah.
And then, the CFL called Jim Lawson, the chairman of the board, and said, "Look, we'd like to have a conversation with you." And here I am. It's been the greatest, one of the greatest years of my life of being, back in this great game of ours.
I have a question about the health of the game. I get the sense that the CFL is getting stronger every year. Do you get that sense, Randy?
Well, it's absolutely what we intend. I came in with a clear mandate from our governors. They want to grow this business. They want to grow the game. I think, I've said before, we are no longer going to be a humble church mouse. This is going to be a big, strong, powerful league. We have all the foundation stones to do that. We got a tremendous fan base. Our fans want us to be big and strong as well. And, here we are in Edmonton. Last year's Grey Cup in Ottawa was an enormous success. Mm-hmm. But you come to Edmonton, tickets are going to go on sale tomorrow afternoon at 2 o'clock. It's going to sell out very quickly. So if you're out there, buy your tickets fast. But we want the Grey Cup to be second only to Canada Day, and maybe bigger than Canada Day, as a day of national celebration of what it means to be Canadian.
Very cool.
And that is the way we're thinking about the league. So the league is in good shape, but we believe it can be bigger and stronger.
You have been like a breath of fresh air in the CFL when you took over. And I really appreciated your willingness to make changes, too, on the fly as you go. Because there was a year there where it was almost tough to watch. It was really slow. Like, there was so many flags and challenges. And my dad, who we're from Saskatchewan, grew up watching CFL football. He was even having a hard time watching. Just the pace of play was so off. And then you came in and you made some changes, and it's really picked up again.
Well, to be perfectly honest, that's the way I was. I mean, I came into the job having been a fan of the game since I was a kid in Winnipeg, but I was finding it tough. I mean, literally, the game was so slow on TV, and it just wasn't moving along. Look, that change happened because I have so many great partners who completely got it. We're spending a lot of time talking to our fans. We are going to be the most fan-centric league in the world. That's my commitment to our fans. We're going to do a lot of listening. I had dinner last night with a group of fans, and the thing that we did the most of is I asked them a lot of questions. I wanted to get to hear what they had to think. We've taken out the challenge flag this year for illegal contact.
Okay.
Because that was, I did this national tour this winter, got in front of 4,000 fans from coast to coast, literally from coast to coast, because we were in Halifax as well. And that was the number one thing they wanted to see changed, is that challenge flag for illegal contact. So we've made that change now. It's going to be about making the game fast and exciting, which it is. Mm-hmm. But we're going to remove the impediments to making the game as great as it can be.
The game is obviously fun to watch. And I think the one thing that I've always said out loud about the Edmonton Eskimos is that it's also a community team. it's a team that gets behind the community, and you know that they're going to step up and do what they can to help out Edmonton, which I think, if I'm not mistaken, is something, it's sort of an edict that is carried out across the CFL in all the markets. But, I mean, so the teams kind of handle that themselves. So the health of the CFL, I think, is good because you got Edmonton Eskimos, and they're very community-minded. You also have to take into consideration the health of the players, Randy. And is that something that you spend a lot of time on? Because that is a very, very hot topic, hot-button discussion when it comes to football, a full-contact sport. Yeah.
You're spot on. So a couple things there. Just one, look at the rule changes we made this offseason to complement the ones we made last year. So we took out padded practices after training camp last year, specifically to reduce the wear and tear on the players. We've gone to a three bye week scenario because we needed to get away from those short turnaround games. Those are super hard on a player. And I played 9 years, and I can tell you the last 3 or 4, I couldn't have done it. This offseason, a couple of the rule changes. One is we've eliminating the crackback block. Why? Because that's a dangerous play for our players. So that's out of the game. We're eliminating cutting outside the tackle box. So we're going to try to keep the players out of each other's legs because that's another thing that can be dangerous. And then we're going to we've installed new rules around the use of the crown of the helmet, the spearing penalty. We're going to be much tougher on that, and we've done that because we made a commitment to one another that and the players are part of this. We got to find a way to make this amazing game, which I can tell you changes lives for the better. Anybody who comes into this game, their life is enriched by all football does, but we got to work on that safety thing. But to go back to your thing about the community, look, I don't think there is a league out there that belongs to the fans more than the Canadian Football League belongs to its fans. No, it's totally unique.
Hockey doesn't touch football in that regard.
It doesn't. It's not even close. And the fact of the matter is, when you talk about Edmonton as the city of champions, I think it's about the people that live in this city. Yes, the teams have done well, and there's lots of hardware here, but it's about the attitude that people have in this city. It's about their volunteerism. It's about their commitment to their community. This is what makes the 2018 Grey Cup coming here so special.
Yeah.
These guys are promising to sell out this game faster than they did the last time. They sold it out in 6 days. I think this is a community that can beat the record because they just believe in the CFL, they believe in the game of football, and they believe in the city, the festival that's being planned here. Oh my gosh. We're talking
about that a lot.
We were down there at the Eskimo front office the other day, and they were telling us about the bungee jump and the zip lines, and they're closing down this Jasper Ave. And
they're going to have downhill skiing. They're going to have tubing for kids. Look, this is what Grey Cup should be.
Yeah.
It should be a place that Canadians gather and just have one whale of a good time together.
Yeah.
And when you go to Grey Cup, that's what makes Grey Cup so fascinating. People come together. They're wearing their colors. They kind of don't care. They're Canadians who are celebrating something special together. There's nothing like this in our country, and we've got to make it bigger and stronger.
It's interesting because I always in my life I keep running into football people. I didn't grow up playing football. The town I was in was too small. We didn't have a team. But I, of course, would have been a quarterback and probably would have been drafted. Yeah.
Things would have been a lot different.
A lot different for me. Yeah. I got a bad elbow, though, so that would have held me back. But there's a mentality with football people. Can you touch on that a little bit? I don't know what it is. I've never been able, but there's just there's a work ethic. There's you meet really good, strong character people that come out of the football world.
Yeah. Well, and I think you're spot on. But you have to first kind of look at the game itself. It is not a game where a person can dominate. It's not like the NBA where LeBron James could literally go on any roster and they're immediately in the playoffs. Because it's not like hockey where two guys in your team you get a superstar center and a great goaltender, and man, you can rock your way through a few rounds in the playoffs. Football is literally the ultimate team sport. You have to have everybody playing together. That quality alone makes for the development of a mindset around teamwork that is hard to get anywhere else. But the fact is, the game is special because it's so inclusive. So show me a game anywhere. Show me a game where you can take a kid who's short and slow or tall and fast and every combination and permutation in between, and a coach can find a place on the football field for that kid to be a star. Because you can have in Edmonton, you will have an all-star who is 6'7", 360 pounds, and you'll have an all-star who is 5'11" and 165 pounds, and they play the same sport. And the thing is, it is the most inclusive.
That's an interesting observation. I agree with you on that.
Like literally, there is no sport in the world where it has a profile where so many different types of people can be superstars in their own way. It's one of the qualities that makes football great. The other thing about football that I've always believed that makes it so special is that in the locker room, the players literally don't care. They don't care where you're from. They don't care about your accent. They don't care about anything. You know what their question is? Can you play? Can you play, and are you going to help us win? Players are remarkable that way. And the last thing about the game, but more importantly our league, pound for pound, there is no league in the world where the players are more committed to the community than the CFL. These guys show up at community events and they love being there. It's like they're not looking at their watch. They're not trying to figure out how quickly they can get out of the room. These guys show up. They love the people around. Somebody said to me, well, yeah, but CFL players just kind of live in the community like regular people. And I say, yeah, but you don't have any other neighbors that can bench press 500 pounds. Like they're kind of different than your regular neighbor. Like when they're mowing the lawn, they look a little different than most of the guys up and down the street. And I think being in the community and being part of the fabric of the cities that they play in is what makes our athletes so fantastic and special.
Randy Ambrosie, the commissioner of the CFL, with us this morning. And it's okay for you to make your Edmonton Eskimos Grey Cup prediction right now. I'm fine with it. You want to do that?
Yeah, in the commissioner's handbook, the first 3 pages are dedicated to the things you absolutely can't do. So you're now on page 1, 2, and 3. And listen, when they sent me here yesterday, they asked me to read the handbook again because they knew guys like you, these Cruise FM guys, were going to be like, "Whoa, make your prediction," and I was going to get myself into trouble. And I can get into trouble on my own. You see, I don't need your help.
Well, I'd just like to point out that we had Troy Westwood on the show a couple weeks ago.
Oh, come on.
And he predicted Saskatchewan to win it, so
I knew he was going to bring it up.
He's a Winnipeg boy, so.
Unbelievable.
If Glenn was here, he'd predict yes.
There you go. We had Troy on. I used to work in Winnipeg for years, and we had Troy Westwood on the show a couple of times leading up to, because now he's doing sports radio and in Winnipeg, doing very well for himself. Randy, listen, I really appreciate your visit, and we're very excited about the Grey Cup coming to town. Again, you mentioned it. We'll mention it one more time. Tickets go on sale at 2 o'clock tomorrow. That's worth mentioning because a lot of concerts and people who listen to radio are used to buying tickets around 9 or 10.
Yeah.
But it's a 2 o'clock time tomorrow.
And a big event at Commonwealth tomorrow. Come out, have a hot dog, have some fun, buy your tickets, but get them fast. Somebody said that the tickets are going to go on sale in the evening. They might be gone by the evening, so you got to get in and have fun.
Is that a breakfast thing too? What were you talking about, Jimmy?
There's a Chamber of Commerce.
That's right.
Yeah, Chamber of Commerce breakfast tomorrow morning.
They're not going to let me in on that.
Some guy from the CFL is going to speak at that thing. I can't say much about that.
All right.
But we're going to talk about the CFL and the Grey Cup and get this thing heading in the right direction.
Are we allowed to take some pictures with that bad boy?
You are, yeah. The Grey Cup is right in front of me, and
awesome.
As long as this guy doesn't want a picture with the 89,
I will highlight the 89.
Like literally, I'm basically on the verge of tears. So
you brought it up right away too. Right out of the gates.
Yeah.
Thank you for the visit, my friend.
Thank you. Great being here.
The Locker Room, weekday mornings on 95.7 Cruise FM.